Foreclosure, bidding wars, closing costs, interest rates. Real estate has enough vocabulary to fill a dictionary. But today, friends, we're going to be talking about one single word that can stop a home sale in its tracks if you don't understand it. And that, of course, is a lien. So let me start by saying this. What if you found your dream home, negotiated a great price, and made it to closing day, and then learned that the seller can't legally transfer the property because, well, someone has a financial interest in or claim on it? That's exactly what a lien does. It's not about who lives there. It's about who is owed money. And until that debt is handled, the home title is basically wearing a do not sell yet sign. But as scary as that sounds, once you understand what lien is, you can make more informed, educated decisions. And that's what 2 Minute Tuesday is all about. These videos exist to educate you so you can be much more confident in your choices that you make. Now, if you get value from this and feel you have learned something, hit that like button down below, subscribe to the channel so you'll be sure to stay up to date with our future content. Plus, well, it helps us reach more of an audience, people just like yourself, and we really do appreciate that. So thank you in advance. Now, with that out of the way, let's dive into today's topic. A lien, well, getting into the very core of this here is a legal claim placed on a property when a debt hasn't been paid. Think of it like this here. If the property were a whiteboard, a lien is someone who is writing, I'm owed money, and this asset backs the debt. Now, liens come in all form of different places. The most common one is a mortgage lien, which is pretty normal. When someone buys a home using a loan, the lender places a lien until the mortgage is paid off. Totally standard, not scary. Now, this is expected and gets cleared automatically during the closing process. Where things get a little interesting are the other types of liens. The surprise guests at the closing party that no one invited. Here's an example, a tax lien. If a homeowner doesn't pay the property taxes, the government can place a lien on the home. Now, with that lien in place, the home can't be sold until the taxes are paid. The county or IRS doesn't care that the seller wants to move. They care about getting their money. And here's another example, a contractor lien, which is sometimes called a mechanic's lien. Let's say a seller hired someone to remodel their kitchen and never paid the final bill. The contractor can then file a lien against the property, meaning the debt is now tied to the property itself, not the individual. So even though the buyer didn't hire the contractor, the lien still has to be resolved before closing. Then there are judgment liens. Now, if the seller loses a lawsuit and owes money as part of a legal judgment, the court can attach a lien to their property. This is especially important for buyers to understand because a lien attaches to the home. You don't get to negotiate with it. You have to clear it. Now that you have a couple lien examples, let's talk about how liens impact the sale. First, well, liens cloud the title. This means the seller can't transfer clean ownership to the buyer until the lien is paid or otherwise settled. Title companies exist to find these things so you don't inherit someone else's debt by accident. In other words, well, there are protections in place to ensure you are aware of the liens against the property that you want to buy. Second, well, liens, they can delay closing. If a lien pops up late in the process, everything pauses. Friends, buyers don't get their keys, sellers don't get paid, and realtors, well, they don't sleep well. It becomes a scavenger hunt for payoff documents, negotiations, or proof that the lien was released. Third, well, liens affect leverage. A seller with a lien has few options. Now, they can't just say, no, we'll deal with this later. The sale can't happen until it is resolved. And buyers, well, sometimes they assume a lien means the home is discounted, but that's not always true. A lien just means that there's a debt that must be handled, not that the home is suddenly a bargain bin item. And there's one more key item with all of this here. Liens must be resolved in a specific order at closing. Mortgage lien, for example, tax lien, contractor lien, each one of these has priority depending upon who filed first and what type it is. Now, the closing process is designed to clear liens so buyers receive a clean title, but it only works if there's enough money from the sale to cover the debts. If the liens exceed the home's Sale proceed, well, the seller may need to pay out of pocket or negotiate settlements before closing can move forward. Now, there's a little twist with all of this. A lien doesn't mean that the seller is a villain. It means there was a debt tied to the property. Sometimes it was a mistake. Sometimes it was a dispute. Sometimes life just happened. The important part is not the drama. It's the resolution. And that's why title searches really matter. If you're a buyer, here's your takeaway. Don't panic about liens. Expect the process to uncover them and expect closing to clear them. The system is, at the end of the day, there to protect you. If you're selling, well, the message is simple. Handle your debts early. If you suspect a lien exists, tell your realtor or title company upfront so you're not scrambling at the 11th hour. But let's zoom out for a second. Real estate isn't about just buying a house. It's about understanding invisible financial threads attached to it. A lien, well, happens to be one of those threads. When you understand it, friends, you don't fear it and you don't get blindsided by it. And that's really, at the end of the day, the higher purpose of these 2-Minute Tuesdays that you're watching right here, giving you the clarity that you need to make informed decisions, ask smarter questions, and walk into real estate conversations with much more confidence. Now, before we wrap this up, I'm going to say this. If you ever see a lien during your transaction, the best resource is going to be your realtor and title company. They do this day in and day out, and they're going to be a great resource for you. Lean on them. Ask questions, don't assume. And hey, if you have any questions about liens, drop them in the comments down below. After all, I'm a realtor, so I know a thing or two about all this stuff. And actually, speaking about that, if you happen to be in California looking to buy or sell or have some questions on the real estate market here, reach out to me. Love to sit down with you. All right, friends, that's going to be it for this video. As always, thanks for watching. And if you don't want to miss the next 2-Minute Tuesday, make sure you are subscribed and hit the bell for all notifications. With that said, friends, I'm going to be shutting off the cameras, and I will see you in next week's video.